Scapula, scapula, scapula. What is it? A bone, a muscle, a very fancy term for a shoulder blade? Well, if you guessed C, then you are correct. If you are a calisthenics athlete like me, then you have definitely heard the term in many other calisthenics videos, especially mine, and I truly believe that everybody should be able to be familiar with their scapula and know how to get it as strong as titanium itself to increase your performance. But how exactly do you get it strong? Well, by targeting the muscles around it. You see, everything when it comes to movement, your scapula has to move in order for your muscles and joints around it to function. That is why we should have our scapula move in all ranges of motion, which I'll discuss all of them in full detail in this video right here. First one being the downward motion of our scapula, which we call depression, which a good way to imagine it is having your shoulders as away from your ears as possible. Doing this will activate your lats and chest, making them great stabilizers for movements like dips, front lever planches, push-ups, deadlifts, pull-ups, and even squats, making this a very important activations when it comes to a lot of the movements that we do in our daily lives. And it may also prevent any shoulder discomfort and or weakness. Strengthen this by doing scapula dips. Start in a dip position with your shoulders relaxed and then start to create tension in your lats by pushing your shoulders away from your ears. Do this for reps so that you can understand the activation, and after each rep just hold it momentarily so that I really get that activation. As you progress in this, you want the most bulletproof depression possible. So add weight or use an unfixed object like the rings, or two of your goofy goober gym bros will work as well. The second activation of your scapula is the upward motion of your scapula, which we call elevation, which is basically the opposite of depression, where your shoulders, instead of going down, they go up. But how may this activation help us? You may ask. Well, that is a great question, because this activation is really only useful when we are upside down. That's right. Instead of your feet touching the ground, they are in the sky itself. Or you can just use this activation when you are doing overhead pressing in general, as you need that activation when you are at the top motion so that you can activate your muscles and, balance and have sufficient stability. When you are doing this, your traps and levator scapula are at tension. So prepare to get the most massive and most succulent and juicy traps in the world. Oh yeah, right. I have now told you how to get the most big, juicy, succulent, and strongest traps in the world, but how do you really get that? What do you do? Well, handstand elevations are the best exercise for this. Go into a handstand with preferably your chest towards the wall and go from depression to pressing the world up against you. Make sure that your chest is as close to the wall as possible and you're externally rotating your arms. Okay, now third activation that I'll present to you is retraction, which all you have to do to activate this activation is to bring your scapula back to squeeze your back. Doing this will activate a lot of the muscles to stabilize your back on movements like pull-ups, front levers, rows, and basically any other pulling movement. Mixing this activation with depression will give you the ultimate activation so that you can activate your whole entire back and help you get stronger in the pull-up and just give you a thicker and better back in general. For this one, do scapula pull-ups, which for this one, you go from a dead hang to an active hang, going from elevation to depression and retraction. Keep your elbows locked so you can only let your scapula move. The second movement you can do for this one are scapula rows, which you basically have to start in a horizontal row position and just retract as much as possible. And don't forget to depress for this one as well so that you can activate even more stabilizers. And now the final activation I will show you, and one of my favorites, is the act of moving your shoulders forward so that your chest is synced in, which I like to call this one, which others call this protraction. This is mainly used for pushing movements like planches and push-ups, and depending on your goals, also dips, as they target the chest, serratus anterior, and the delts. And you can maximize this with maximum efficiency and get as less discomfort as possible. Do this with depression as well. For this one, do scapula push-ups, which you can either do in a straight arm plank or with a bent elbow plank, depending on your progression, on your knees or with your toes. And move from retraction to protraction. Also, make sure if you're doing this with straight arms, externally rotate your elbows so you can maximally engage your shoulder. And don't forget to not round your lower back. Also, make sure to keep a straight line so you get that perfect hollow body shape. And now, surprise, surprise, bonus activation. That's right. And this is going to be the act of like, subscribe, comment, and share this video with your friends and family, because this is the act of also supporting my channel and let me know to make more content like this and show that you guys just care overall. So yeah, and now this will be the end of the video, so I'll see you next time. Bye bye.